As the music says, welcome back. Welcome back to the QC Step Podcast for the first episode of the 2014-2015 school year. And for some of you, this may be the first time that you've watched our podcast. And on this episode, I'm going to tell you what this is and what you can expect to learn from these episodes. It is the week of September 1st through the 5th, and this is the QC Step Podcast. Again, welcome to the first episode of the podcast for this school year. I'm Corey Finneran, and I am real excited to get back to the podcast after not doing it over the summer. Some of you are probably saying right now, what the heck is the QC Step Podcast? And I'm going to answer that question. But before I do that, I'm going to tell you what QC Step is and what the STEP program is. The STEP program, it's an employment program. It's here to help you prepare for your transition from high school to after high school life. And we focus primarily on employment, on work. Because the STEP program is part of the Division of Rehabilitation Services, or DOORS, you have to be certified in our program for us to work with you. And chances are you may already be working with Gary or Carrie, and if you're not, your teacher will probably be referring you to our program to receive the services that I'm going to explain. So some of the things that we do with you, the services that we provide, are things like sharing job leads with you, helping you with job applications, helping you prepare for job interviews, and then giving you advice to help you keep your job after you've been hired. If you're not sure if you're certified with our program, then you can ask your teacher. So I mentioned Gary and Carrie, and they are the ones that you will probably work with the most when you're in the STEP program. Gary works with Orion, Riverdale, Sherrard, Rock Island, and the students from those districts that are at Blackhawk Center. Carrie works with Alwood, Mercer County, Rockridge, United Township, and then the students at Blackhawk Center that are from those districts, as well as the DHH program. Don Carney and myself were the transition specialists, and you'll see us from time to time in your schools. And then Don also works with the Phoenix program, and I work with Thurgood Marshall. And then there's Cindy, and Cindy is the coordinator for our program. She kind of helps it all keep moving. And she will sometimes call you to check on your employment, especially over the summer. So that's who we are and what we do. And now to answer the question, what the heck is the QC Step Podcast? Well, this is a production that our program does, and it's available for you pretty much every week of the school year. And you can watch it in class, you can watch it at home, and it's available all the time at qcstep.com. And if you have a smartphone, then you can access any of the episodes through iTunes, and you can subscribe for free there. And when I say that you can access any episode, we have done 62 episodes. This is now our third school year. And on each episode, I tackle a different employment topic. And so here are a few examples, and these are from the end of last school year. 3 reasons you should work a summer job. 10 things to not do on a job interview. 4 ways to be successful in your job search. Crafting your elevator speech. 3 tips for interviewing in a loud environment. And there are many, many more, like 55 more topics. I have a page on the website where I have them all listed, all these episodes listed, and the topics that I covered in those episodes. And you can get to that by going to qcstep.com/list to see it. So anytime you have a question on employment, you can go there and look through the list to see if I've addressed that topic. And even if you don't have a specific questions, it might be a good idea to go through that list and see if there's anything that stands out to you. And I would especially suggest doing that right before you have an interview. So there are lots of episodes dedicated to interviews. That's a lot of what we talk about. So before you have an interview, definitely go check that out. I come up with some of these topics on my own, but I really like to get topic ideas from you. So if you have any questions about employment, or if you would like me to address specific areas of employment, then you can send them to me at any time. And the best way to send them to me is probably through your teachers. But you can also email them to me, and my email address is info@qcstep.com. So I spend a little time on the employment topic on these episodes, and I also use the podcast to share information with you about our program. For instance, some of you probably went to the Day of Transition conference that we hosted last year, and we will be doing another one of those conferences this year, and I'll use the podcast to talk about to share the information on that event, and then other things that are going on with the program and with our podcast. And the last part of the podcast is where I share job leads. And I know that many of you are looking for employment, either because you don't have a job or because you would like to find a better job. And when I share the job leads on the podcast with you, I give you all the information I have on those positions. And then in the write-up on the episode, underneath the video player, I have links to the online applications if they have online applications. And so right now, the plan is to have a new episode up on Wednesdays. Last year, they were on Fridays. And I think that the job leads were old by then, and by the time you got them, and I just didn't like only giving you and your teachers just one day really to watch it at the end of a week while that stuff was current. And so the plan is that a new episode will be ready for you on Wednesdays. That'll give you a few more days to watch it. Occasionally, in our office, we learn about job leads after the podcast episode has been recorded or posted. And in that case, you'll want to connect with QC Step through your social networking. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And if you've already linked to our Facebook page or liked our Facebook page, I'm going to be closing that page down. And the reason why is that Facebook pages, they're different than regular profiles. And if I posted something on our Facebook page, chances are you didn't see it. Facebook was showing our updates to about 10% or less of the people that liked our page. So the information just wasn't getting to you. The reason they do that is because they keep numbers down because they want people to pay to boost numbers. Well, I wasn't going to pay for basically to advertise with Facebook. And so instead we moved to a Facebook group. And you'll need to join the QC Step Facebook group. Even if you've already liked our page, you'll need to go in and redo it. And you can go to that by going to qcstep.com/Facebook. So as I mentioned, I will use the Facebook group to share job leads, but then I also use it to share interesting articles and videos on employment that I think that you might find useful. We're also on Twitter, and I will use that in almost the same way that I use our Facebook group. So if you're on Twitter, you can find us on there at QC Step. And if you're more of a visual person and you're on Instagram, then we're QC Step on there. If you don't want to search us out, you can find the links to our social accounts at the top of the website. And speaking of our website, for those of you that use QCStep.com and the QC Step podcast in previous years, you'll notice that the website has been redesigned. And I did use the website to put up a blog post about the Relay for Life and the volunteering opportunities that they have through the Davenport Volunteer Connection. And this event is on September 13th and 14th. And in that blog post, you'll find that, and you'll find that right underneath this post. But in that post, I talked about the benefits of doing volunteer work if you're under 16 years old, the benefits if you're over 16 and not working, or if you're over 16 and you are working a job. Check out that post if you're interested in getting in contact with the Davenport Volunteer Connection. And if you'd like any help with that, Gary or Carrie, they'd be able to assist you, and you can contact them through your teacher, or you can email me, info@qcstep.com, and then they'll meet with you. So don't let this or any other volunteering opportunities pass you by. If you don't have much or any work experience and you'd like to get a job here as these seasonal retail positions start opening up. We'll talk about this in upcoming weeks, but lots of businesses are looking for workers, and they hire in September and October to kind of prepare for the holidays. And if you would like to get a job and you don't have much to put in the work experience part of the application, then voluntary opportunities, they're quick ways to have something to put in that part of the application. And it also shows that you care about your community. And that's something that employers really do value in potential workers. So let's wrap up this episode with some job leads. The Kmart in Moline is looking for cashiers. Pizza Hut in Orion, they're hiring team members. Ross in Moline is hiring retail associates. And Gordman's in Moline, they're hiring for 2 positions, seasonal associates and stockroom associates. And we also have some job leads for our graduates that are still in our program from last school year. Coca-Cola is hiring order builders. Best Buy in Moline is hiring cashiers and inventory associates. Toys R Us is hiring seasonal off-hours stock crew. Family Dollar in Moline is hiring customer service workers, customer service representatives. And the PetSmart in Moline is hiring early morning stockers. And so at the bottom of this post, I have the links to the online applications for each one of these job leads. And if you would like help with the applications, the online applications, those can be tough. If you want any help with those from Gary or Carrie, then ask your teacher to get a hold of them, or you can email me, info@qcstep.com.
I could bet all of the riches that I ever had. Rushing the night like a shark, babe, would it be bad if I had to sit the line, 'cause the bills that run up my back.
Well, that does it for this first episode of the 2014-2015 school year. And this was kind of more of an informational episode on our program, on the website and the podcast. And like I said earlier, I really enjoy getting your questions for the podcast and doing episodes on those questions that you have in the employment topics that you feel are important. So you can email this to me, info@qcstep.com. You can post them in our Facebook group, or you can tweet them to me, or give them to your teachers. And like I said earlier, I hope to have these episodes out on Wednesday mornings. So I don't have a topic picked for next week's episode yet. So if there's something that you would like discussed, then send it over. Thanks for watching this week's episode, and I will be back next week with another episode of the QC Step Podcast.